So there's something that we all have that sometimes we proudly proclaim and other times we angrily defend. It's something that is a source of very small conflicts and also major ones. It's our opinions. And so, as those of you who have been coming to the Abbey for a while, or who live here know, by living at the Abbey, we really get an opportunity to see our afflictions up close and personal. And if we don't see them, someone else for sure will. And they will tell us about it. And so one of the attachments that I've started to notice is my attachment to my opinion. This is coming up specifically in the context of working on a little bit on one aspect or a few aspects of the Buddha Hall, and also helping Venerable Kadra with Metacabin. And so I've started to notice this, and one time it was very clear in my mind, I am very attached to this idea, and I want to make sure people know it. And then someone else also commented on it. And I thought, oh, I need to look at this. Or I want to look at this. Because I do. I mean, it's really painful. And so I wanted to share some of my thoughts, both the ones that I've had internally, and also some advice that I'm trying to give to myself to lessen this attachment to my opinions. So the first is, I know I'm attached to my opinion, and it comes out in the sense of, well, I have this experience. Don't you know I went to school for this? I have a background in this. And in this case, I know it's an opinion, but I have good reasons why it's a good opinion. And so I started to think back on architecture school. And if any of you know anything about architecture school, you'll know that architecture students typically, they're known for working all night long before a big review. So you put up all of your designs on the wall, you stand up in front of the class with maybe 3 critics, and they publicly give you feedback on your design. And so what are you doing? You are trying to convince everyone that your idea is the best idea, right? It's the design that makes the most sense, that's the most beautiful, and then you get publicly criticized by the professors. So I thought, oh, well, of course I have attachment to my opinions, because that's what I've been trained in, to be attached, and not only to be attached, but to defend them. And so I thought the other aspect, or the flip side of it, is when I'm holding on to this identity of going to architecture school, for example, then when my opinion isn't valued, I'm not valued, right? The identification with the opinion really affects my self-esteem, affects how I relate to others. And so we know that our identities are big sources of attachment and anger. And Venerable Chodron has been repeatedly encouraging us to look at what our identities are and to let go of them. And I see that this is really helpful to do because my opinion is not who I am. It's just a thought that I have. And for some decisions, our experience that we've had in the past might be really helpful. And for other decisions, it's not helpful. And sometimes it could be quite harmful. So the other thing that I've noticed is that sometimes I don't even recognize that it is an opinion, right? I think it's the objective reality. I think it's the truth, right? This is right. This is the right decision. This is the best decision. And anyone, can see that it is. And when that is challenged, then I could see my mind go into, okay, do it your way. No problem. you can do that. Do what you want. And then there's the shutdown, the disengage. And I can really see how when I have this mental state going, my help is dependent on whether the person agrees with me. And I don't want my help to be dependent on whether someone agrees with me. And so actually there is no right decision or best opinion. But actually we all have different backgrounds. We have different ways of looking at situations. We're thinking about different things. Venerable Tarpa is interested in the infrastructure and the water system, and there's others that are interested in how much it costs, and there's others that are interested in the aesthetics. And these are not, it's not all black and white. It's all of these factors coming together, and it's really helpful to have everybody coming with different focuses to one conversation, because then a decision can be made that addresses the various factors involved. So then, of course, what I've also noticed is I have attachment to my opinion because it's mine. So this is the most obvious. This is just another example of self-centered thought. But actually, I kept thinking, our opinions, we don't create them out of nowhere. They come from something. They come from someone. Oftentimes we hear something and we think, oh, that's a good view. I like that view. That accords with my way of thinking. I'm going to adopt that view. So actually, it's not actually our opinion. And the flip side of this, when I get angry, when the opinion is challenged, then I could easily go into, well, I had nothing to do with it. That's their decision, right? The color for the countertop, that's them. I didn't have anything to do with that. But actually, it is a team effort. For the Buddha Hall, for every project that we do at the Abbey, for everything that happens in the world, it's always a team effort. And then the other way that I know I have some attachment to my opinion is when I exaggerate its importance. So I think, well, this is really important, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. Or the flip side of that is it's really important, and if you make that decision, it's gonna ruin everything. People are only gonna look at the countertop. They're not gonna look at the Buddha statue, they're not gonna look at the carpet, they're not gonna look at anything else except the countertop. But actually, the color of the countertop, the color of the cabinets, the pattern of the carpet, these aren't really that important. And so I've thought of two main antidotes to this attachment and aversion regarding our opinions. And that one is what I mentioned before. It's not mine. It is due to conditioning, right? So like in my case, I went to architecture school. I had certain professors that had certain aesthetic preferences, and I adopted those. I looked at various design magazines and oohed and awed over the beautiful modern houses, and I adopted that aesthetic, right? I had coworkers and bosses who said, yes, I like that, no, I don't like that. And I've adopted that way of viewing things. And so in all of our cases, we've been around certain groups of people, we've engaged with certain media, and that's shaping how we're thinking about things and our opinions. And the other related antidote to this attachment is that our opinions change. And so recently there was an email sent out by Venerable Chodron, and she was asking for some comments, our opinion on something. And so I emailed before anyone else did, I think, but I didn't CC anybody. I just sent it directly to her. And I felt pretty confident, yeah, this is my opinion. And then I read some of the other emails that came through that did CC others in the group. And I thought, oh, you're right. That would look better. Or, yeah, it does have that connotation. And my opinion changed. So it's like, why would I hold on to this opinion when it's so flexible and fluid? If I hear a good argument, then yeah, I'll go to that opinion. Yeah, so these are two antidotes that I've started to try to use, and I'm going to really try in the future to keep using them. And so most of what I've talked about are sort of mundane opinions, right? They don't really matter in the very long term. But there are some opinions that are very impactful, that make a difference in people's lives. Like our opinion of another person, especially if that opinion is widely spread. Or our views on ethical conduct. What is a moral action versus what is not? This is an opinion and a view that is really important and really has effects now and in the future for ourselves and others. But regardless of the content of these opinions, it's really our clinging and our identifying with them that causes the problem. So there are times when our opinions are welcomed and appreciated and asked for. And there's some times when we think that it might be helpful, and so we present our view. And I really want to really train myself to offer it freely, to give it without strings attached, without bias, without an agenda, without ego. Really just give it as an offering, This is a view. And I really want to practice offering my time, my skills, any knowledge that I have in a really balanced way, and also with altruism. That is not, this is mine, and I'm going to tell everybody that was me that said that we should do it like that. But rather, I want the best for the group. I want the best for everyone who is affected by this decision. And I think in this way, then we can, offer our opinions in a way that is in alignment with our values and with bodhicitta.